Senior Regional Thematic Specialist for Data and Research. Prior to joining IOM, Prince Al was Deputy Director of Migration Statistics at the National Statistics Office in South Africa, and she's worked on censuses and on large surveys on migration, as well as providing policy analysis on migration, demographic and development issues. Prince Al, we look forward to your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Excellencies, colleagues, partners, and distinguished guests, it is really my honor this afternoon to present the key findings of the 2024 Missing Migrants Project Report for the Middle East and North Africa region. This report is not just about data, but it is a reflection of the human cost of unsafe and irregular migration in our region. Next slide. I will begin by presenting the key figures, which shows the toll of 2024. In 2024, at least 3,488 migrant deaths and disappearances were recorded in the MENA region. This includes over 1,700 deaths on the central Mediterranean route, which is once again the deadliest route in the world. And we'll just wait for the next slide. Okay, here it is. A record high of more than 1,000 deaths on the Western African Atlantic route, including 138 lives lost off the coast of Morocco. More than 920 deaths across overland routes through the Sahara, conflict zones, and other remote areas, many of which remain invisible and underreported. These movements often occur in clandestine manners. Hence, these figures are likely underestimated due to limited access, lack of reporting, and the absence of forensic systems across many routes. Next slide. So who are the victims? What are the profiles of those whose lives have been lost? Among the identified deceased, we have 937 men, 275 women, and 159 children. And alarmingly, 61% of victims remain unidentified, leaving families without closure and complicating accountability and humanitarian support. Of the 739 identified MENA nationals who died in 2024, over 80% died within the region, often in deserts, at borders, or just offshore, making it clear that the MENA region is not just a region of transit, but a region of disappearance and entrapment as well. Next slide. As we can see in this graph, the year 2023 marked a tragic peak in recorded migrant deaths and disappearances along the routes from, within, and to the MENA region, with the majority of lives being lost at sea. While the number saw a slight decrease in 2024, this still represents a devastating toll, and it's important to emphasize that this decline should not be interpreted as a reduction in risk. Rather, it highlights the persistent dangers across these routes and ongoing challenges in detection and reporting. Most deaths continue to occur on sea routes departing from the MENA region, particularly along the central and western Mediterranean, and more recently, the Western African Atlantic route. In 2024 alone, more than 2,500 people died or disappeared at sea, accounting for more than 80% of the total. Land routes through North Africa and the Middle East, including crossings through remote deserts and conflict zones, also remain deadly, with 564 and about 350 fatalities respectively. These numbers, as alarming as they are likely a significant undercount. Many deaths go unrecorded due to a lack of access to remote areas, non-recovery of bodies, or incidences that are never reported. Behind each figure, however, is a life cut short and families left behind without any answers. Next slide. So why does this all matter, and why are we here this evening? These findings speak to multiple interconnected gaps in protection, legal frameworks, and data ecosystems, and they demand all of our collective action. They are also highly relevant to key regional frameworks, such as the Khartoum process, which brings together countries along the Horn of Africa and the Europe migration route. This has increasingly been recognized the importance of addressing migrant deaths and enhancing cross-border cooperation. The Rabat process, which is uniting European and African partners, recently prioritized missing migrants through the establishment of a regional focal point network, which is a promising step toward better coordination and identification. The project also speaks directly to the Global Compact for Migration, particularly Objective 1, which is to improve migration data for evidence-based policymaking, and Objective 8, which is to save lives and establish coordinated international efforts on missing migrants. Many of us are familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals, and the project targets 3 different goals. Target 10.7 on facilitating safe, orderly, and regular migration. Target 16.2 to end violence and exploitation, particularly of children. And Target 17.18, which calls for improved availability of high quality and disaggregated data. Next slide. From the report, which will be shared with you, the call to action is clear. The continued loss of life along migration routes in and from the MENA region is not inevitable, it is preventable. The findings call for urgent, coordinated, and human-centered action across 3 interconnected pillars: prevention, identification, and support to families and survivors. First, prevention has to be our starting point. We need to increase safe and regular pathways for migration so that people are not forced to risk their lives. Search and rescue must be prioritized, not criminalized. It is also critical that migrants and their families are supported to stay in contact during their journeys, and that awareness is raised on the dangers of irregular routes. Second, when tragedies occur, we must strengthen our systems for identification, which includes cross-border sharing, building forensic capacity, and working with authorities to receive and act on reports of missing persons. Of relevance to us today and to each of you, civil society, local responders, diaspora communities all have essential roles to play in these efforts. Thus, we cannot overlook the rights and needs of families and survivors. They deserve protection, access to justice, and regular communication throughout the identification process. We must ensure dignified recovery, repatriation, and the respectful handling of human remains. Across all 3 pillars, the foundation is clear. We must invest in better data collection, harmonization, and responsible sharing. Without data, people disappear not only in transit, but also from public record, from policy agendas, and therefore from accountability. Ultimately, the report that has been published this year is a reminder that data is not just numbers. It is about lives lost, and also importantly, lives that still can be saved. We hope this report contributes to stronger regional dialogue, more coordinated action, and a renewed commitment to protecting people on the move, wherever they are, and whether they moved or whether they remain trapped. On behalf